We'll have to.
It says scheduled. All right, well, I guess we're live. The San Francisco 49ers got snaked by the Los Angeles Rams and got them sent to Australia. This is proof that things are going on. Steph Sanchez is back. We're going to talk about the NFL owners' meetings, all that and more right after this.
And now you're muted.
And what is going on? All right, rousing way to start the show. I'm Jason Aponte. Steph Sanchez is back. What the hell is going on? This is the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network, the only San Francisco 49ers podcast that wasn't day drinking with Kyle Shanahan today. Steph, it's great to have you back.
We wish we were drinking with Kyle Shanahan, though.
We did pass that tweet around, and we said, yeah, man, I'd love to be there, especially if Sean McVay's running is picking up the tab, as Jay Glazer, alluded to. I'm gonna ask for some top shelf stuff, not well drinks. Where's what's the most expensive tequila you have, and put it all on that guy. And it's a perfect place to start with Sean McVay, because we got some spicy content from Pro Football Talk. Those are stats guys, and Kyle Shanahan was on there, and he didn't seem too happy about the Australia thing. First of all, he didn't like the Australia thing off the rip, just off of traveling, and I agree 100%, but we'll talk about that more later. But the Los Angeles Rams are the culprit and the reason that the San Francisco 49ers are in Australia, because we can keep our joke alive. They're tired of 49ers fans taking over the stadium. Rob, play the clip.
I'm pretty sure the Rams lobbied for that game.
What? For a fact they did.
Yeah. Because
so bothersome. Yeah, so hopefully the league will do right and let us play the Rams in Mexico, since we got to go out of the country twice, and they requested us. I'm requesting them in Mexico.
Oh,
not that gives us an advantage. It's just fair to make them go out of the country.
That would be great to have the two games between the Rams and the 49ers. Neither played
I like it.
I mean,
I
knew he might go this way when he brought it up. I knew it. I knew it.
So he's waiting for the right moment. Sorry.
So I have brought this up a little bit. So you think the Rams have lobbied because they're sick of seeing the 49ers dominate the crowd at SoFi?
And I get that.
Yeah.
That would suck to have to do silent cadence and have our home game at their stadium. Yeah. So I get their ambitions, but they were rewarded that. So I'm just hoping we can get our request. I'd love them to come to Mexico.
That's awesome.
Our Mexican fan base is awesome.
It is. It's like bang, bang. 49ers gang.
Our jokes will continue. We will get these jokes off until the end of time. And the Los Angeles Rams organization notices it too. So don't let a Rams fan talk crazy to you. Let them know that we run that stadium. Let them know that they are scared and they are the ones that push for this. Steph, your initial thoughts of hearing that the Los Angeles Rams are scared while Kyle Shanahan laps it up with his two friends, Matt LaFleur and Chris Sims.
I mean, it's not surprising. It's just very lame. That's like loser behavior, to request that just because you can't fill your own stadium up with your own fans because you have none. That's just very lame. And I agree with Kyle. I hope that the 49ers lobby to have the Rams play in Mexico City, because for one, I would like to be there. And for two, I think that would be fair. And no wonder Sean McVay was paying for everyone's drinks. He owes Kyle Shanahan a drink or two, I think, after that loser behavior move that he did. But, I mean, playing in Australia, I think, is for the fans, especially the ones that are overseas and that live in Australia. Obviously, it's really great. I can't imagine the excitement to have your team, visit you there, right? But from the team standpoint, it's awful. I mean, to travel that far, I see no advantage to it whatsoever. It's just more money in the NFL's pocket, basically.
Honestly, I understand trying to grow the game. And I've understood the London thing and everything. And I've always just said my issue with it is, if you want to grow the game, stop sending the Jacksonville Jaguars over there, because what are they supposed to do with that? They're not supposed to get excited about going to see the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay? So you want to grow the game, so you send the San Francisco 49ers, who are they're a global brand. That makes sense, right? But the part of this that's really shady is just look, you legit have a problem with the fact that your stadium is not yours. And these jokes are gonna get off. Like, we are gonna get all these jokes off. All of them. I don't know if meant to do this, but any Rams fan that talks crazy to me, I'm gonna say, yeah, well, we joke about it because we've been there. I was there for the NFC Championship game. It was a sea of red when it happened. Yeah, well, you got your jokes or whatever, but it's not even your stadium. Like, we'd have a harder time taking it over for that. We were playing the Chargers, who literally just got there. So yeah, it just keeps it going. But it's just funny to me that the Rams are so preoccupied with this. We've heard them talk about it. Yeah, you got to go into silent cadence and all that stuff and whatever. And Mac Jones and the bunch, they went in there and they kicked your teeth in. Like, I get it. It's frustrating, but it's so frustrating to the point that you lobbied to the NFL, like, please make the 49ers go because we don't want to play in LA against them.
Like, that just feels so extreme, right? Like, so extreme to do that.
Oh, look,
but
we got one Ram fan in here. Ram fan here. We won a chip in our own stadium and beat you in the NFC Championship game. Kudos to you and the other 12 of you guys, man. You guys should be really excited. I mean, the parade was packed. The sales of Matthew Stafford jerseys are up to 25 people that have bought them. It's really, you should be excited, and I really love that for you guys, man. And you guys are a tight-knit group. You guys meet up every Sunday. You all watch the game together, and it's all of you just in one place because there is nobody else but you guys. So yeah, enjoy it, man. Appreciate that. All right, so the NFL owners meeting, I think the first thing is we got to figure out which head coach won drink the beer. Meaning, we've got some inside, info that a few years ago, Brian Dabble was the first coach to crack a tall boy once they're done with whatever it is that they have to do. And there's something about this owners meeting that feels like a little bit more of a party than the combine, right? Like, like Kyle shows up and he's like clearly disheveled from the night before, right? So like this
That's
time, that is our coach, Jay Glazer. Shows Sean McVay sitting next to Matt LaFleur and Mike LaFleur and Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan and Nick Sirianni and all those guys. Chris Sims is there, and it's something that he said is 18 straight years that they've been doing. They've been doing it since Mike Tomlin's been there, whatever. Rob makes the point, and I'm kind of leaning his way. Jay Glazer doesn't have to tell these guys to day drink. Fairly certain they were gonna day drink on their own, right?
Sorry, if someone get Glazer some sunscreen, please. Man, that man's head is burning. But yeah, this looks like a time, and I'm glad they're all having a good time. Yeah, I mean, we know how the combine is, and if it's anything like that for them, the all blue drip from Sean McVay is crazy. Blue shirt, blue shorts. I don't know if I would do that, but hey, I mean, coaches have to have some fun sometime too. I'm just glad, and I know Rob shared the sentiment with us earlier that Kyle Shanahan didn't look too disheveled this time. So he was able to hold his liquor this time around. He looked refreshed. He looked like he had his morning coffee. He got his morning shower in. Good for him. He looked like he actually wanted to be there this time.
Yeah, and the difference between what that looks like is, one, it's in Arizona. Two, in the combine, it's March, so it's kind of cold, but it's always in like the one or two places only, Steph, right? It's that Prime 40, 48, whatever the hell it's called, which is in the hotel, which is where, who was it? It was Rappaport and Jordan Schultz who squared up at the Starbucks. That happened there.
Yeah.
And then there's the steakhouse where it's like all packed in. But unfortunately, here's the difference between that event and this event. At the combine, some of the guys are missing. Like, Kyle's never been to the combine since we've been there.
Yep.
We ran into John Lynch. We ran into Tariq Ahmed. Like, we've spoken to 49ers higher ups. Like, I've spoken to Kevin O'Connell and talked to Von Miller. Like, that's the type of thing that's going on. But like, it's all of them that are there. So it feels like that event has a leg up on the combine. That's something that I think we need to try to get ourselves to next time. By the way, insider info from somebody who was there: Mike Vrabel did not stop last night at all and that's a big guy. So
It's a
imagine,
big boy.
imagine how much alcohol it would take to put him down. But Steph, there were some things that were said by the coach, by the general manager, by the owner. We've got to sift through it and figure out what's BS and what's not BS. But we're bringing back our favorite segment, 49ers Fact or Fiction. It's good to see you, Steph, and this is perfect time to do this. Rob, what is our first question on Fact or Fiction? Fact or Fiction, there was one positive thing about the 49ers opening the season in Australia. Fiction. Oh, well, all right. Fact. Here's why. The global game is growing. People who have not been able to come to San Francisco or to Santa Clara or see them at other places will get to see them. 49er fans down under will have a chance to support the team. That's the positive way that I'll go with. I'll go with fact.
I'm still gonna that is true objectively, yes, for the fans, but I'm still gonna stick with fiction here because I think, from Kyle Shanahan's sentiment, which I know that's where we're getting this from, I think from the team standpoint, there is no positive thing. I mean, do you think they're excited to see the fans from Australia and that would outweigh the, no offense to the Australian fans. I'm sure you guys are great and we'll be loud out there, but no, I just think the bad outweighs it. And I can't think of a positive thing from the team standpoint. So.
Yeah. Travel stuff is tough. At least it's in week 1. You get away, you get it done. It had to be week 1 because imagine trying to plan that trip after a game in week 7 or 8. So at least they did that part right. But I'll take the fair route. I'll say fact because of the fans down under. They'll get a chance to check the game out. You're growing the game globally, and if you're gonna grow the game globally, send 2 very good teams there. Stop sending the Jaguars. Stop sending the Minnesota Vikings when Carson Wentz is the quarterback, right? You've got, if you want them to be excited, send them good products. So, Rob, what's the second question? Fact or fiction? Kyle Shanahan will get CMC more rest this season. Kyle, I love you, man. I do love you, man. But you remind me of the guy or the person, right? Doesn't have to be a guy or a girl. The person in a relationship who has a major flaw and they have something that they need to work on and they continue to say, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to fix myself. And they just continue to say that and they just don't. Kyle, lie to the media. Don't lie to me, man. That's absolute fiction, man. Are you kidding me, man? I really, how many times can you say the same thing? This is the 4th or 5th time that you said the same exact thing. Come on, man. Don't lie to me, man. Come on.
Yes, this is the biggest cap I've ever heard, and we've heard it too many times at this point to believe that it could be true. And I don't care if it's this, well, yeah, we wanted to, but it just didn't work out because X, Y, and Z.
That's what he was saying again.
That's what I know. And what's funny is the X, Y, and Z in question is just football. It's just things that happen in a regular season. It's guys will get hurt. Your wide receivers will get hurt. So, yeah, you're going to need CMC, or at least that's what you're going to feed us, that you need CMC on the field. He was also talking about the play call thing and how he gets a little maybe irritated when he has a play called specifically for CMC or, with the thought that he'd be in there. And then he sees that he's not. So what do you single time? It's just a tough spot, I think, to be in when it seems like Kyle Shanahan's expectation and desire is for Christian McCaffrey to be out there. And look, I don't blame him. It's Christian McCaffrey. That's one of your best players. But that's what I'm saying. Kind of what you said. Don't lie to us. we don't need to be fed this lie. You could just unapologetically say, no, he's our best player. We're just going to keep using him. I mean, we know how it's going to go down. This is big fiction.
A few things from what he said are important, though. Not that part about getting him rest. That's not important because it's not true. But he did say we had problems at wide receiver and we didn't have anybody who was drawing attention on the field, and I think that's absolutely 100% true. And I want to give credit to Rob because Rob made this point before anybody did, that the addition of Mike Evans, the addition of all these wide receivers and everything can actually alleviate that and can actually maybe have Christian McCaffrey be not as focal of a point, in the offense. And he also talked about how when, I catch you in base with Christian and you got a linebacker on and now you've got to draw attention this way, it opened things up for somebody else, right? Like this, the strategy, I understand. The X's and O's, I get it, man. If Christian McCaffrey, if we turn the injury sliders off like in Madden and he would never get hurt, completely understand. Just let him run out there. But you're playing with fire and everything as well, too. One other thing I thought was really, really interesting about Isaac Guerendo. He's great in the pass game. He wasn't our second best runner. Jordan James came on at the end of the year. And just a real quick story. I did a show with Dieter this week, and he was talking about how at the end of the year, he's clearly sourced up. He called the Kwesi thing, and he's got his boots on the ground. Let's just say that. He said that he kept hearing every single week, like, hey, this is the week Jordan James is going to get, and then he would be inactive. And then finally, like, he gets a few garbage time carries in Seattle. By the way, the reason that he was inactive is this. I don't know if you guys remember the kickoff in Seattle. Jordan James is on special teams, and he jumps completely out of his lane, and Rashid Shaheed just runs right by him. Like, that's the other part of this that you don't understand. Why everybody's like, why isn't Jordan James up? Well, if he can't help on special teams, well, if he can't pull the defense away or anything like that, what's the point, right? Like, so that's why he was inactive. But Dieter was talking about that they really had confidence and they really do like him. Now, that's fine. Today's March 31st. Tomorrow's April Fool's Day. They could feel like that today, but they're going to draft somebody. They're going to bring in another guy. There's going to be a UDFA who tears it up in training camp. Like, these are all things that are actually going to happen. Like, then we'll figure it out. But like, for right now, that's fiction because I've heard it too much, man. You can't keep lying to me to my face and then expect me to believe you this time.
Also cool. Isaac Guerendo, Jordan James. There's reasons those guys didn't see the field. What about Brian Robinson, who you traded a draft pick for and barely used? Like, I think that's why it's still baffling to me. But in any case, I mean, yeah, we agree. That one's not going to be true this season.
Kyle, you liar. What's the next one? Fact or fiction? Dre Greenlaw will play more games than Christian McCaffrey this season.
This goes hand in hand with what we were just talking about. I will say fiction. I'm putting some good juju out there for Christian McCaffrey. Dre Greenlaw, I love him too, obviously, but I do feel like he's had more consistent injury issues the last couple years, so that might be a little too much to come back from and expect him to play the full season, right? So I'm gonna go with fiction.
Allow me to continue with the good vibes, and it's gonna be fiction because they're both gonna play 17 games.
Hey, let's go.
There you go.
Why not?
That's really easy. Yeah, look, I don't want to get into what I'm afraid of, anything like that. Look, it's too early for all that right now. Vibes are high. Everything feels good. The band's getting back together. All we got to do is give a call to Deebo Samuel, and we can have the entire group back. Obviously, I'm joking to people off, but yeah, at this point, I'm just going to say fiction because they both play 17. And like Jacob says, 20 or 21, meaning Super Bowl. There you go. Now you're talking. But yeah, I don't really want to, rock the boat, shake things up. Things are good right now. Things are feeling good. We're feeling good about the moves. We're feeling good about the possible draft picks. We're feeling good about post-draft moves, which, I've written articles about. I think that there's a few post-draft moves that they can still make in free agency that'll still bolster this roster. There's still a lot of work to do, and I still think the 49ers are in a good spot, and a lot of other people believe that too as well. So, yeah, from Aponte's mouth to God ears, shout out to Charlene for the comment. All right, Rob, what's the next one? Fact or fiction? Brock Purdy will be better this year than he was in 2025. This is a good one. I like this one. I'm going to let you go first, Steph.
I'm going to say fact on this. And I think also, like, I want to preface that by saying that it isn't always about the stats. When I say, at least, that Purdy's going to be better this year, it might not always reflect in, the final stats of the season for him. But I do think there are some areas, and I think we could all agree there were some areas in which he could have been a little bit better last season. And I honestly feel like those things improved as the season went on last year as well. So, given the fact that Kyle Shanahan did mention that he gave Brock Purdy a list of like 5 things that he has to, maybe look out for, improve this year, including, things around film study or things like that. I know that Brock Purdy is the kind of guy who takes those things very seriously, and he's gonna work on those. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. And so, yeah, I think that's fact for Brock. I think he's maturing as a quarterback. And I also think we have to consider, the added weapons that they have on offense, Christian Kirk and Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans, the perfect wide receiver to pair with Brock Purdy. Like, I just think like that's going to go so well. So, yeah, I'm optimistic about this offense evolving and that revolving around Brock Purdy and the growth that he's making year to year.
The thing is, too, regardless of how the season ended, Brock was really good last year, especially for stretches. There was points where, 5 touchdowns and he's doing that dance. What up, Kitty? He's doing that dance over and over, right? Like, and whatever. You can say what you want about the defense that is played, but people play those defenses and they weren't scoring 4 and 5 touchdowns and doing all those things. So he was really good last year. If he takes another step, that is incredible. Now the supporting cast is going to be better. George Kittle won't be there early on, but you look at the receivers. We're still not done adding receivers. I still think the 49ers will add 1 or 2 more. Watch out, Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall, by the way. It's still evolving right now, but I would say again, just he looks like he's way more in control of the offense. No matter what happened with the last game against Seattle, that's not Brock's fault or anything like that. That was an avalanche. That was just, it was going to happen. There was no quarterback that was going to get them up out of that, especially, when you consider the play call with the Kyle Juszczyk option and then Ton just fumbles and then they just keep scoring. Like there was just nothing that they could do. The defense was just out of guns and out of bullets. So yeah, I would definitely say fact.
And someone said that the kitty has something to say. So let's see what that might be. I'm going to put the...
Come on, buddy. I hear nothing.
He was purring, I swear.
Yeah. 404, you better make sure you got your money for my membership. If you don't believe that the 49ers are going to use a wide receiver pick with their first 2 picks, I mean, you're either just like trying to like be contrarian, like you just make sure you got your bread ready. That's it. All right. What's the next one? Fact or fiction? Brandon Ayuk will play another snap for the 49ers. Let me say this. John Lynch said it's done. Kyle Shanahan said, yeah, we're trying to get something for him. Just because Jed York said, yeah, I'd love to have him back. I think that's just like the most PC answer. This is way too far gone. But I will say this. It's not, I wouldn't put it past the San Francisco 49ers if they drag this into training camp. And let's see who blinks first. I want to remind people about one James Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
Steph, we're there. We're trying to figure out what's going on with this team, who's going to start. Trey Lance is, getting every single rep, everything. And there's a guy running back and forth and people are clapping and it's just a sideshow. Do not think the 49ers are above making Brandon Ayuk blink at training camp if they don't get something for him. So, I don't know, Steph. I'm going to say fiction, but I definitely think this is going into training camp. And Chris Simpson seems to feel the same exact thing.
Yeah, I think this is fiction as well. And let's not forget, as Jay kind of mentioned with that story, is that the 49ers are the king of petty if they feel like they need to be. And this feels like a situation where they want to pull that card. And I don't know what happened, but by all accounts, it feels like it might warrant that. So like, I don't want to even judge them for them taking this approach. They invested a lot of money in this player, which is why I think Jed York, out of all those guys, the three of them, was the kind of hopeful or wishful one, I guess, because, I mean, he threw some money in there as well for BA, and I'm sure in his mind, more than anyone else's, he would like some of that money to not be wasted. I mean, he himself mentioned we've paid him more millions than snaps last season, and that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt the pockets. You know how these rich guys are. So I think that was just wishful speaking from Jed York, and not based on anything that is truly hopeful, you know, in the situation. I think it is too far gone as well. And yeah, they will play this card for as long as they need to. I don't think anyone's trading for Brandon Ayuk. You know, I really don't. We haven't seen him. Like, what team would know even what they're trading for besides like the stories that we keep hearing about how he's kind of abandoned the team and all these other things that have been put out there. You know, I just think it's a bad look altogether. And I think ultimately the 49ers will release him, but no way to know when that is going to be. So,
yeah, even though, you know, like, I understand the 49ers know that he wants to go to Washington, and
Right.
Washington's like, why should I send anything? First of all, not only do you have to send away draft capital, you pick up the contract. Why would I do that when you're going to cut him and then I can sign him to an incentive-based 1-year deal and make him play for it? Like, and again, do you know what you're getting? Does Brandon Ayuk even want to play football? We don't know anything. He's not talking to anyone. So yeah, fiction. You know, absolutely. And the thing is the incentive to cut him right now is null and void for the 49ers. In fact, they would take on obviously the dead cap hit would be astronomical, and then it would count even less against the cap. Like, they get nothing back before June 1st. Now, after June 1st, the dead cap hit drops drastically, and then they actually get some cap savings, which is about $8-9 million. And trust me, I actually did the research because I had to like write it for an article. But you know what sucks, Steph? Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk. That would be phenomenal. That would be a phenomenal wide receiver group. Jordan Watkins, pack your bags, buddy. Jacob Cowan, go get a job. Like, I don't care. I don't want to hear their names anymore if it was those four guys. So, yeah, but unfortunately, this is fiction. But this will go into training camp. That's my bet. And that's what I'm going to add. The caveat is that this is going into training camp. And if you think this is done, it's like that episode, Steph, and you know, I'm wearing the Seinfeld hat. It's like that episode. Remember when George tells the Rosses that he has a house in the Hamptons? And they ask Elaine about it, and Elaine says no. And Elaine tells him, and he's like, wait a minute, they let me go on lying and lying? You don't let somebody lie when they're a liar. You just call them a liar. Like, you're a liar. Yeah, thank you. He goes, so I'm going to take them to this non-existent house. We'll see who blinks first. That's what's going to happen. Who's going to blink first? But yeah, I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld lately. All right, what's the next one? Fact or fiction, Renardo Green will play another snap with the 49ers. This is fact. It's kind of been debunked, the whole trade thing with him. John Lynch kind of laughed at it. He's very frank about that as well, too. So, yeah, I'm going to say fact.
This one's fact to me, too. And, like, it was so strange to me, this Renardo Green thing. Like, because I felt like it was only coming from Matt Barrows, if I'm not mistaken. And, like, I mean, Matt Barrows is connected. So I'm like, where is he hearing this from? Because no one else was talking about it as, like, a legit thing. Like, yes, you could have looked at the fact that he was benched, you know. But, like, is that the only reason that we thought he was going to get traded? I never thought that made any sense. He's still on a rookie deal, which still has years in that contract. So yeah, this never made sense. I think he will play another snap. The 49ers have much bigger needs. To create a need is silly, I think, in this case. So yeah, he'll play.
Yeah, and I thought Kyle Shanahan, you know, talking about it, he shed some light on it. He's like, yeah, we benched him, but like that was a teaching moment and we love him and everything. Like, he was very frank about that. So yeah, I think that's absolutely true too. You know, obviously you look at the acquisition of Nate Hobbs. You know, he plays inside and out, and they were very effusive in their praise of him. But yeah, I don't see how you can move on from a guy, especially because it just felt like he was just a bad fit with with the cover 3 stuff, right? Like just all cover 3. Like let's see him in a little bit more man. Let's see Raheem Morris put him out there, while he's got to be out there and play. So yeah, I think this is absolutely fiction. Rob, what's the next one? Trent Williams will play another snap with the 49ers. Fact or fiction? This is fact, Steph. Come on.
Big fact. Big fact. I'm not worried about Trent Williams in the slightest as far as this getting done. I mean, I don't know if that's the next one, Rob. I'm sorry if I'm jumping the gun, but I mean, let's just cut to the chase. This is getting done. The 49ers have been here before with Trent. And what better option do they have, right? Like, and again, you don't create needs for yourself in the offseason if you can help it. At least like that's how I see it. And especially when the player that you would be replacing is a future Hall of Famer. And I get it. He's getting up there in age, but come on, you've been here before. You don't think twice about this. You find a way to get it done. They'll find a way. So he will play another snap for sure.
Yeah, 100%. This is gonna go to training camp. This is gonna go to week 1.
You think? You think?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah. After last year, everything was too smooth for Trent. He went to training camp. He played every training camp. This is going closer to week 1 than you want. And like I said, look, bookmark it. Brandon Ayuk goes to training camp. Trent Williams goes all the way to week 1, and we'll figure out a few days before.
Let me ask you this: do you think for Trent, it's kind of this play to not have to attend training camp? Like this is his way of just skipping through that?
Maybe. I mean,
at his age,
last year. I mean, he did it last year. I got to give him respect for that. Like he did it last year, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's old," and then he was like on the doorstep of playing an entire season and not missing any games. I mean, he missed the biggest regular season game, but yeah, I don't know. Man. I think this is gonna take a while. This is gonna take a while, and I don't know if it has to do with that, but I know it has to do with the fact that Trent wants his money, and he needs it, man.
Yeah.
How do you support 2 women at the same time, man? It's tough. All right, what's the next one? Fact or fiction? The 49ers defense will look very different under Raheem Morris this year. Steph, what do you think?
This one's like, ask me again in a few months. Like, I don't know. What I do know, I will say I'll lean more towards fact on this one. Because based on Kyle Shanahan's comments on Raheem Morris, what he thinks he's going to bring this year, and just like, how he respects him as a defensive coordinator, it seemed like the big selling point, besides the fact that, they're great friends and in all the years they've been in the league, is that it seems like Morris is comfortable being flexible based on the personnel that he has, right? So I think given that we can see a variety of different things, we don't know who the 49ers are going to draft for the defense, right? So we can't say what vision Raheem Morris has for what this defense is going to look like until like we kind of get a better sense. And even, Kyle Shanahan alluded to that as well. He's going to see who he has in OTAs and, once we get into training camp and all that, and then that will sort of build itself out. But I don't know if I could say with certainty it will look very different, but I do think fact, like it will look different for sure, because I think there's just going to be a lot more room to try different things based on who the 49ers have on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and look, it's going to be core principles, same thing, right? Like if you think this is going to be some sort of scheme overhaul, I've got something to tell you. It's not going to happen. But I do believe that they're going to allow Raheem Morris to color outside the lines a little bit more than they would have anybody else, right? And I do think that when you personnel base, when you think about that, when you're putting it together, who do you draft? Who do you bring in? Because the 49ers are going to sign a veteran edge rusher after post-draft. Get ready to learn Hassan Reddick or Leonard Floyd, in my opinion. And Leonard Floyd is like the perfect guy to come back. Like, again, like, I don't want you to take those signings as like, oh my God, what are they doing? Those aren't guys that are going to be impact all pro guys. Those guys are filling out the defensive line. That's the sum of the parts is we're talking about. They need veteran guys, right? They need guys that have played snaps, and that's it. That's all they'll be. They'll be veteran presence. They'll be players who are just on the field who they can trust. That's it, right? Like that's all they'll be. But when you think about those guys and you think about the consistent pass rush that they're going to try to build with, drafting an edge or two and then add one at the end, you are going to have to change things up. You're not going to be able to just drop 4, and they are going to run more man. So if you look a little bit at the way that the Atlanta Falcons ran their defense, and Jeff Ulbrich was the defensive coordinator, so I want to make sure that we say that. But I do think that you are going to see a little bit more blitzing because the 49ers didn't blitz at all last year, and the number has to go up because it can't go any lower. So yeah, for sure, you're going to see something different. I just don't know if you're going to see this overhaul. So I won't say very different. I think that I changed mine to fiction. Yeah. What's the next one, Rob? Fact or fiction? John Lynch will be the GM in 3 years. Ooh, this one is a read between the lines one. Jed, if you're a language expert, if you're someone who analyzes words, right? And if you listen, oh, Kyle's going to be here. It's no problem. And then he's like, oh, yeah, and we want JL here, for a long time, too. Kind of just felt like he threw him in there at the end because he knew he was leaving him out.
Awkward. I do think, and I don't know if there's anything specific that maybe they're unhappy with, or Jed is unhappy with John Lynch about. I could think of a couple things, I guess, but yeah, I'm gonna go with fiction on this one. But they're going to do it in a very, I think, sort of subtle and graceful kind of way to make it look like it was some mutual thing and John Lynch is moving on to greener pastures, and they have someone that's been waiting in the wings that they want to give an opportunity to. And, you kind of see, not to say that the writing has always been on the wall, because I don't know if that's necessarily true, but the 49ers have done this thing where, like, they've changed even Lynch's title once, right? And a couple guys below him as well. So I don't know. It kind of just feels like a move of trying to inch towards that over the course of some years, to where maybe at this point, finally, after this contract is up, they could just rip the Band-Aid or the rest of that Band-Aid off, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go with fiction on this one. We'll see what happens.
I'm gonna go with fiction, but I swear to God, if the person replacing him is Kwesi, I'm gonna crash out. No, seriously.
That make no sense, right?
Seriously, no, seriously. I'm not, and that's not even no disrespect to him. Kwesi needs to be a part of the brain trust. He cannot be allowed. He cannot be allowed to run the draft by himself. He cannot be the head. He cannot be the guy. Just can't. And if you don't believe me, just look at those Minnesota drafts. They're god awful. The guy drafted Lewis Cine over Jalen Petrie. The guy drafted J.J. McCarthy. Those drafts are abhorrent. You cannot allow him to be the guy to do that. So it depends on who the GM will be. Speaking of people internally, this is completely all based. The answer is fiction, but it better not be Kwesi. That's what I'm saying. It was interesting to hear Robert Saleh say that he was not allowed to touch KJ Wright and bring him with him because he feels he's on a trajectory like DeMeco Ryans to become defensive coordinator. So it is cool that Raheem Morris is here, but the 49ers have done a much better job of bringing up coaches and putting them together. Not you, Nick Sorensen, but, people who are actually qualified. So I thought that was really interesting because we all kind of suspected with that.
Yeah, I agree. I thought, the 49ers always do a really good job, I think, of finding good coaching talent and developing them in-house and making sure they get these promotions to, kind of continue on with this cycle of, then getting the minority coach draft picks it's something that's worked for them and they have plenty of inner development that they've done. So, I think it's a good organization for that. I think they're always thinking ahead in that sense, always trying to set up the next guy. Someone that I agree with the Kwesi thing. I don't know if that's someone they'd really necessarily be interested in. I think pay attention, especially in this draft or in last draft, there was RJ Gillen and Tariq Ahmad, who both had the little breakdown on 49ers YouTube or, their media after the draft. Those guys were included. I say pay attention to those things after this draft, for example, who are going to be the guys who get invited up to the podium to talk to the media. Those are the guys that they're looking for, promotions internally and things like that. So don't be surprised if any of one of those guys would be, the next GM. We'll see.
Shout out to Tarek Ahmad, Jersey native. I tell you, the offer's still on the table, buddy. Let's link up at Yard House. All right, what's the next one?
Yard House is crazy.
I told him he's there, but I told him he lives there. He's South Jersey. I'm North Jersey. You know what I'm saying? I'm closer to the city or whatever. I was like, hey man, if you in town, let's link. All right. Fact or fiction? Kyle Shanahan will be the 49ers coach in 4 years. This is an absolute fact.
Fact.
Yeah. I mean, look. You hear the praise. You see the love from around the league. Teams would literally cut their left arm off to get him in the building. For other teams, right? Look at all these other teams that are like, Clint Kubiak's getting a shot with the Raiders. He'll flame out in 2 years. Like the Shanahan thing is just, he's not going anywhere, man. And also, I don't think Jed York's mom is gonna let him get rid of Shanahan. It's gonna be like, Jed, get in here. You're not getting rid of him. But mom, it's my team, and I can do what I want. Look, go to bed. Like that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, no.
People will still continue to argue whether or not Kyle should be the 49ers head coach in the miserable place that is 49ers Twitter and whatever else. But we know the truth. He isn't going anywhere. Argue with a wall.
Yeah, and people argue that Jake Moody was a good pick. Just because a few people say things doesn't mean that it's smart or that it should be argued or even discussed. So, yeah, I mean, he's not going anywhere. Nah, he'll be here. What's next, Rob? Fact or fiction, the substation stuff is officially dead. It better be. And you know what? And this is it. This is the last time we're talking about this. I am afraid. I'm definitely afraid for society. Seriously. No. This can be applied to everything.
Yeah.
This can be applied to everything. Just because you can't explain something doesn't mean that you can jump to a conclusion about something that you can't prove. And unfortunately, in today's society, people run with things that are easily debunkable if you just use your brain. Use your brain. Your brain. And you know why it's dead? Forget what John Lynch said. We hired an independent scientist. He hired Bill Nye. Cool, whatever. Who cares? The 49ers would never get anybody to come here. The substation. Mike Evans took less to come here. Christian Kirk took nothing to come here. What are we talking about? So what's the excuse now? It never was a thing. And this is what I'm afraid of with society. Because when you laugh at somebody who pushes this theory, they say, you're not critically thinking. No, you're not critically thinking because there's nothing critical to think about with this. It's very simple. It was nonsense then. It's nonsense now. But you didn't need anybody else to tell you anything, okay? It was something that was brought up during a dead time, during the Super Bowl, where people were just grasping at clicks, trying to get on Joe Rogan. Please, how do we just use our brains? Just use your brains. And Niner Faithful says, how do other players on other teams get hurt then? Not get hurt then. Okay, here it is. 1, training staff, bad. 2, investing in players who are injured. 3, sometimes you run your practices a little too hard. These are all logical explanations as opposed to the rays in the sky or whatever the sun. Like, these are the things that you should be pointing to because they're logical and they are real. And that is why after, and this is a good place to go here with this, the 49ers on their report card, their training staff was whatever, like rated like the lowest. And what did they do? They just invested $10 million into all of the things that the players were complaining about. There are too many logical explanations for this to be something in the air, Wi-Fi. Like, please, guys, in the big Lord's year of 2026, your brain is your best friend. Do not turn it off. Get off the internet and stop listening to your buddy who is listening to Joe Rogan in a damn garage. Please, that's it. Go, Steph.
It may be dead to the 49ers, but it will be alive in our hearts still. Okay, here's what I'll say. I don't think it'll die so easily amongst the fan base who was already like holding on to this theory and treating it as fact. And I'll even just take some of the comments that were rolling through as you were, answering there, Jay, like independent scientists, quote unquote, paid for by the 49ers. You guys think the 49ers moving like the government? I mean, sometimes they do, but not in this case. I mean, I think, yeah, I think this has been debunked. Run something yourself if you think that isn't true. Hire a scientist. But, in any case, I think from the 49ers standpoint, from the players' standpoint, from free agents and the NFL is concerned, it is dead. Unfortunately, we're still going to have to hear it among, the fan base, and that's going to suck. That's really going to, kill off some brain cells, even having to read it. And then two, like, I think that it's still going to be the butt of the joke. And at this point, I think I can laugh about it, knowing that it isn't, of course, there isn't any truth to it, but, it's still going to be out there, unfortunately.
This is how people think that the earth is flat. This is how people
That's
think
what
that.
I'm saying. If people really think that, Jay.
Right. And this is how people think that John F. Kennedy's coming back to life. Like, my God, man.
Killing me.
The internet is the greatest and worst thing in the history of, look at the picture. The internet,
don't make me laugh.
The internet is the greatest and worst thing in history, right? But the internet should be your friend in order to find out information. It's debunked by logical thought, Braun Miller. I like the picture, though. That's pretty funny. Okay. Steph, we're done with Fact or Fiction, but I haven't spoken to you in a while. I haven't spoken to anybody in a while. In fact, it got to a point where I had to answer questions. Yo, are you and Steph beefing? Like, is this the end of bully ball? Like, bro, this is not the Joe Budden podcast. We're not breaking up. This isn't like we're, like there's no inner tension or anything like that at all. Like, we're good. But Steph, I haven't really, gotten your thoughts on Mike Evans and Christian Kirk and, the left guard situation. So what do you want to talk about? What do you think is what do you think about is the most important thing of these things?
I think the 49ers have set themselves up really well on the offensive side, especially addressing the wide receiver room. And I'm glad they didn't just twiddle their thumbs and see what Jauan Jennings thought. I felt a little validated. Not to say that I'm happy about it, but I felt validated to see the report that Jauan Jennings thought that he would get more in the open market than what, it seems like teams are willing to pay him at this present moment. I'm sorry, but the door has closed. And I don't think there's any room for him to return. Godspeed. In any case, I do love the moves to bring Mike Evans. Like I said, I think him and Brock are going to make a really good pairing because I feel like Brock's just he's ballsy, like I feel like he'll take chances, and Mike Evans is the kind of receiver that will reward you for those chances because he's got a crazy catch radius. He's just such a dependable, savvy veteran receiver. I think it's going to do wonders for the younger guys in that room, especially Ricky Pearsall, who, I think out of all the younger guys, we probably feel the best about if he could stay healthy. I still have some questions about the wide receiver room in terms of health, and I think that's very valid because the guys they did bring in do have recent history with injury. But I do like what they've done. I do think it takes some pressure off from having to go all in on a wide receiver in the first two rounds. That being said, I still think that they do because I think there will be options for them there. But I like that they're not putting all their eggs in a single basket. I feel like they've done that a lot. I feel like they kind of sit and wait to see what happens. And it felt like this time around they were aggressive. And what I like most, and I'm sure they appreciate this and are patting themselves on the back about it too, is the fact that they were able to make these moves. And these moves are also team friendly. Like I think that's always what they look for, and not trying to spend too much on free agents and things like that. So I think it makes all the sense in the world, just the moves they've made so far. I see someone asking about the Osa trade too. Love.
Yeah, and
Love.
that's the other. So I'm gonna go real quick on the wide receiver, and I'll let you go on that. So the reason that the 49ers are gonna draft a high wide receiver is Mike Evans 1-year deal, Christian Kirk 1-year deal. Do we even know if Ricky Pearsall is gonna stick around next year? All three of those guys could be off the team. Then what? So this is why you have to draft a wide receiver early on and make sure that you have somebody in tow who's ready to go. Because if Mike Evans wants to stay, cool. But if he doesn't, it's essentially a 1-year deal. Christian Kirk is a 1-year deal. Ricky Pearsall, I wrote an article today. Hey, buddy, you're on the clock, man. This is a make or break year. And if we can't depend on you this year, guess what? Fifth-year option might not get picked up, and you're certainly not getting a second-year contract. So this is exactly why the 49ers have to draft a wide receiver, is because this year, you're good. You figured this out this year, but you're still future-proofing yourself for the future, which is what Ricky Pearsall is supposed to be in, for Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. But, Steph, thoughts on the Osa trade? We got ourselves a defensive tackle who's a pass rusher, huh?
Yo, I love this, and I don't think it costs them all too much either. Like 3rd round pick, cool, we'll take that. Because I think the fact that he's young, he's a high impact player. He could be your base defensive tackle. It also gives you some flexibility. Like obviously you brought in Alfred Collins and CJ West and those guys I think are promising. Like they're not going to be forgotten about or anything. But again, you're not, they play a different role, and you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You're not like asking these guys to be something that they're not. You're just asking them to play the role that they've done best, right? And I think that's what it has to be. Like that's how you can rotate guys and put them in the best position to win. And Osa is just a beast, right? So I think I'm really excited about that, and I'm sure Raheem Morris as well will put him in a good position, to have a high impact. And it should help the edge too, or the edges as well. So this D-line could look really different and really, really good if they could figure out the edge spot.
Before we get to this comment, Jonathan Rourke says it's going to cost the team a 3rd round running back. They sent a 3rd round pick, so that's it. We're out of the 3rd round. Like no kicker, no running back. We're done.
Makes it even better.
Yeah, that's it. Better. 3rd round. That's it, guys. This is the dream. And Heineman on Twitch, Fact or Fiction, Trent Taylor beats out Cowing and Watkins. At this point, who at this point would you put your eggs in a basket about Watkins and Cowing at this point, man? Like, what's funny? I woke up this morning and I'm like, hey, what am I going to write about? And I'm like, hey, what about, make or break players, and it ended up being Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins, and Ricky Pearsall. I was like, well, it's all receivers. Those guys are on the clock, man. And if you don't believe me that those guys are on the clock, ask Danny Gray what he's doing these days. One thing I wanted to point out with what's going on, what you said with Osa is Keion White is flexible, can play in and out. Michael can play in and out. Collins and West, your base down run stuffers. You still need to add dynamic edges, right? And the thing is if the 49ers add an edge in this draft that can really help, and then they add a veteran edge, the packages that you can put together, you're essentially your NASCAR turbo package, whatever it'll be, could be something like Michael, Osa, Bosa, your rookie, and that it's like you can really start to really manipulate offensive lines, because now you kick Michael inside. Now you can really, really get creative with what you have. So yeah, the 49ers need more defensive tackles. Look, no disrespect to Evan Anderson and Kevin Gibbons will be back. I don't care if they released him. Like he'll it's one of those players that just hangs around. Sebastian Valdez is never going to play, so stop bringing him up. Like they don't have defensive tackles, so they need people. Yeah, right. I need the Hulk to get a shot. Just stop bringing him up, man. What the hell? He's never going to play, dude. It's just they need defensive tackles, so it's good to have somebody who plays a role that those guys don't. But you do need to add those type of guys, because you're going to have Keion White kick inside, you're going to have Michael kick inside, and then you're going to have this, I guess it's like this way of being able to put together these 4-man fronts that is going to be a lot different. So yeah, I really like this as well too. I think it's another thing that they addressed, and it was relatively cheap. Again, we talk about the 49ers and what they've been spending. They didn't spend much to do anything here. Again, Mike Evans took less money. He could have went right back to Tampa Bay and racked up 140 targets, and he just was like, nah, man. And he said he wanted to chase a ring and everything as well too. And state tax doesn't matter, and The flying in the air, electrical stuff doesn't matter, right? Like he wanted to be here and he felt like he was going to be, a part of that. So, the 49ers have done a great job this offseason. I'm very excited about what they've been able to do. And again, there's still more to be done. Once the draft is done, I still fully suspect that the 49ers are going to be in, running backs that are going to be available. I don't know if I want the 49ers to draft a running back. You can still find an undrafted free agent running back that again, Jordan Mason, like one of those guys, like you really don't have to get into this wasting draft capital on a running back, man. Especially with the little picks that you have now. But one thing that is a little interesting, and one thing that I wanted to ask you about is, would you be in favor of sending a 4th round pick to Atlanta for Jessie Bates for 1 year to play safety? So the Atlanta Falcons added Sidney Brown. They have Xavier Watts. They're trying to get out of this Jessie Bates contract. After June 1st, that contract is very easy to take on. Jessie Bates is still very, very formidable. You send one of those 4th round picks as opposed to rolling the dice on a player that is probably just going to end up on special teams or never play, for a veteran safety who can really, really help you on the back end. And obviously the Raheem Morris connection is there. I still feel like there's things for them to do. I love the idea of them sending a 4th for Jessie Bates. They're going to add themselves a veteran edge at the end, and they're probably going to have to add themselves a veteran running back on the back end, right? You hear Najee Harris. I'm not really in love with that. Joe Mixon is available. There's players there to add that you can add for nothing. So when I bring these free agent moves up, I'm not talking about throwing them a bag. I'm talking about throwing them a 1-year deal where it's inconsequential. They get to camp and you find out they have no juice and you cut them. The undrafted free agent that you have there that's been tearing it up takes his spot. Like, there's ways to do this. There's ways to still load this up, and the 49ers still have so much that they do. I love the idea of sending a 4th for Jessie Bates, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think the safety position is one, that they need to address. And I mean, I love that move for the reason of it gives you a veteran who has a familiarity with Raheem Morris, and then also the draft, as we say, like, it could be that 4th round pick could be anything, right? What you're getting with Jessie Bates. That takes the guesswork out of it, and it's a smart move. So yeah, if the Falcons would take that, like the 49ers should be making some calls. That'd be a good one. And just one less pick that they can potentially take a running back on. I agree. Like, just get someone off the street. I do think that the free agent signings that they make after the draft, I think, are some of their favorites, because again, it just goes into like what they like to do, which is the low risk, potential high reward type of move.
If he stays healthy.
Yeah, it's worked out for them sometimes, not all the time, but again, it's low risk, so who cares, right? And yeah, it just fills whatever gaps they may potentially have post draft. So this team, I think, has still some needs that I'd like them to address, but also, like, I think they've done a pretty good job of addressing some pretty big ones as well. So I'm really happy with the offseason so far. And yeah, I think they've gotten notably better just on paper based on these moves.
Based on also, Trey Lance was one of the greatest draft picks of all time. Are you still talking about the fairy dust in the air? Like, your tinfoil hat is falling off. Just go fix it. Here's the list of the 49ers 4th round picks lately, if you want some background. Mitch Wisnowski, Spencer Burford, Isaac Guerendo, Jacob Cowing, Malik Mustafa. It might stand to reason that having extra picks might be a detriment, right? Because you make a move for, So the thing is, it's like Atlanta's trying to get away from this contract. You send a 4th, which is why it's so low. You take the contract on, you rework it, and then Jessie can play for a year and then go test free agency next year. Now, another one this is a good one too. Even though he didn't play football last year, Justin Simmons is 32, can still play, wants to play this season. But remember, Tashaun Gibson was off the street, and he was an old guy, and he worked very well. Steph, Justin Simmons is out there ready to be signed as well too, man. That could be another. If you don't want to send a fourth and you want to draft another punter, all right, fine. But if you want to like get a safety, Justin Simmons is still out there, and I still think that he's still very valuable in the NFL.
Oh, God, they need a safety bad, and I would prefer if they brought in a solid like veteran. Deshaun Gibson is just a perfect example of like a low risk, high reward move that they made in like the last few years, right? So I think it would make sense for them to try to go back to that in strategy, I guess, and seeing if that works out for them again. And also I think it's good to just like have a veteran presence for some of the safeties that maybe they did draft. Like, okay, if they like Malik Mustafa, if they see something in him, fine. But it'd be beneficial to him to have someone that could be under the wing of that player, and Malik Mustafa would be perfect, as well as Marcus Siegel. So I think they need someone else in the mix, though. And preferably, I think I've been saying for some time, someone who's better in coverage and isn't this like the downhill safety, box safety that they seem to always be so gravitated to.
Yeah. And 49ers Red Zone, I love it. I love the logo too. I'm the picture. Y'all have the blues. Me and Steph, we talked because we were so excited about her coming back that we were like, yo, let's wear blue together and stand in solidarity. Steph, it's great to have you back, man. Don't ever leave me again.
How was it with Rob? Okay.
Great.
I was like, how was he? Did he do anything to you? Why did you talk to him?
He did. He did nothing to me. That's your joke. That's your joke. I'm not gonna steal your joke and repurpose it. Like, okay, it's not like comedians get beat up for that type of stuff, right? I would never do that. That's your joke. Rob was great. It filled in well, but we missed you around here, and everyone was asking. And fact, Rob, fiction.
Don't read that. Don't read that, Chunk.
But Steph, we're looking forward to the draft and everything, and your thoughts. And we're back in the saddle, and we're moving, man. It's good to have you back, man. It's always good to see you. Glad everything's well. Shout out to everybody that's in here. That is going to do it for this episode of Bully Ball on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Make sure you're subscribed to the Gold Standard Podcast Network wherever you get your audio podcasts. Make sure you follow Steph on Twitter at Steph49K. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at JasonPonte2103. You can follow the gang on Twitter as well too, GSN 49ers. Make sure you hit that shop as well too. I love the hoodie that I got. It's so comfortable and warm. There's a bunch of merch on there. Steph, we just have to press Rob to make some Bully Ball merch, and we got to figure out something, man. But
let's go.
Thank you guys for joining, Steph. It's always good to see you. For Steph, for Jay, we're out here.
Peace.